Hey everyone, Couch Investor back to another video for you today and the first block video of 2023. You know my thoughts on Block, aka Square. It was previously the number 2 position in my portfolio, has dropped down a little bit as I, added more to other convictions such as Amazon. But I still regard Block as an extremely high quality company in my portfolio. Now in 2022, of course, again, the stock was down quite a lot. There was this hit because of the acquisition of Afterpay, which again, yes, was expensive. Thank God they used their also expensive stock in that acquisition. Now 2023 should become a better year because, expenses are lowered. Of course, there is high inflation and uncertainty in the economy, but as we've seen during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, the business itself is pretty strong. There's Cash App, there's the Square seller site, now there's also Afterpay. I don't want to talk about Bitcoin because there is, nothing really to talk about that. You know my thoughts about Jack as well. So in this video, I would actually want to talk about the overview of the Square business, the stock today, some analyst notes, and then the graph, and then what my expectations are for this year. Also talk about maybe a potential rivalry and probably a reminder for those that remember the very, very first videos of Square when it comes to them being a big competitor in the future of the likes of Visa and MasterCard. So if you're interested in that, sit back and relax, hit that thumbs up button, it really, really helps the channel out. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support me and this channel, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to full.com/couchinvestor. So, Block. Basically, it's down 57% since 1 year ago. Of course, revenue have increased quite nicely in the last couple of years. In the last couple of quarters, it was a bit flat-ish / down. We can see that free cash flow is still positive, but also trending down. So we'll keep an eye on that. I like positive free cash flow businesses. Of course, with everything that's happened in 2022, this was expected. Now, return on equity is already negative. That's not that great. Let's hope and try and see it trending up again throughout 2023 and onwards. Now, when it comes to gross profit margin, we've seen that going down during the pandemic and then bouncing back up after that. So I'm happy to see this trending up again. Then when we look at valuation, I'm using here price to sales ratio in the next 12 months. We're just over 2 times. So in my opinion, pretty cheap. And then I've put the EV to EBITDA in the next 12 months as well. We're just over 34 times. It is expensive, but as you can see on the graph here, it's way lower than in the previous years. Usually you want this metric to be around 10 to 15. You can compare it to the likes of Amazon, Tesla, and Apple. Those are usually around 10 to 15 times. And now we did have a couple of analyst notes I did want to go over. So the most recent one is from an analyst at Bird. So he upgraded Block to outperform from neutral with a price target of $78, up from $62. He says Block is a premier large cap growth franchise with both profitability and net cash. The analyst believes the company will benefit from macro trends such as rising interest rates and inflation. After the shares declined down 61% in 2022, the analyst thinks sentiment can improve as Block's growth should remain good in 2023 and margins ramp. Again, cost cuts and that impact of Afterpay is a bit behind us. Again, could be that we get that one-time charge. We'll see. Then towards the end of December, we had one analyst note from Citi. So he lowered the firm's price target from $135 to $90, but keeps a buy rating. Now, the analyst believes Block, now at all-time lows on an enterprise value to EBITDA basis, as we've seen, represents a compelling buying opportunity. Key to 2023 will be efficiency gains, tighter discretionary spend, and slower hiring, which has already resulted in 20 to 25% expense reduction in the last 2 quarters. And the last one I want to go over and then just show you the various price changes. So this one is from an analyst at Piper Sandler. So he has an overweight rating on the shares and a $93 price target. Says Block is very well positioned to generate consistent revenue and earnings growth over the next several years due to increasing subscription-based revenue growth from Square customers. We're going to have a look at that in just a bit. In addition, the company is enjoying outsized gross profit growth from Cash App as users increasingly utilize the app's instant transfer capabilities. Then during that period, we had various price target changes from Mizuho. We went from $69 to $70, and at Morgan Stanley from $67 to $66. I just love to see those price target changes of just $1. Now, a quick reminder for those that need it with regards to last quarter. So gross profit still growing quite nicely on a 3-year CAGR or just year over year. Profit is where the money is at. Of course, revenue is always nice, but with revenue, we know that, well, the Bitcoin revenue is boosting that part, but Bitcoin gross profit, just 2% of Bitcoin's revenue. So not really that significant. Now, when you look at this, again, great growth here, 38% year over year for gross profit overall. Cash App gross profit grew 51% year over year or 84% on a 3-year CAGR. Why 3-year? Because they do want to show you what happened just before the pandemic. Then Square gross profit that grew 29% year over year. Of course, in this case here, net income is a loss of just $15 million. Then adjusted EBITDA positive $327 million. Now remember, in the note, talked about the subscription, so let's have a look at that. And for those that need a full reminder of the full report, we did cover that on this channel. It's probably going to be in the top right corner. Now, subscription and services-based revenue was $1.19 billion in the third quarter, up 71% year over year, and subscription and services-based gross profit was $966 million per year, up 70% year over year. Now, excluding the Buy Now Pay Later platform, the subscription and services-based revenue was $982 million, and the other one, the gross profit, was $816 million, up 41 and 44% year over year, respectively. So, quite an increase there. And why is subscription and services-based so important? Well, because it's in the name. It's subscription, it's recurring revenue and gross profit. Now, before I touch on the Visa MasterCard part of my story here, I just want to touch back on this right here. So gross profit in markets outside the United States. I've talked about this a lot on this channel. It should be growing much faster, much more efficiently outside of the United States. Now, it is very nice to see this huge increase year over year. So now we're at 15% of Square gross profit comes from outside the United States. They talk here a bit about Japan. QR code payments are growing rapidly, and I've been to Japan late last year in 2022, and I can confirm that I've seen a lot of Square logos there. All right, now let me talk a bit about the Visa, MasterCard, and Block story here. Of course, this is not going to happen right now. It will take some time, and I do think that we've talked about this a long time ago when we went over ARK Invest's price target for Square in a couple of years from now. They did talk about Square, now Block, maybe undercutting MasterCard or Visa, and that way obviously having more GPV going and flowing through the ecosystem. Because think of it, right now, if you're a Cash App user or Cash Card user, you go to a store, you buy some food, whatnot, you see a Square terminal. You pay with that. What happens? Does something go to Visa and MasterCard? No, it all stays inside the Square Cash App ecosystem. Let me give you another example. A bank, right? You take money from one account to the other account in that bank. Visa and MasterCard aren't touching anything. The bank is doing all of it. Of course, Visa and MasterCard are still the giants. There's no doubt about that. But if Square, Block, Cash App manages to continue to grow, of course, there will be more and more money flowing into the ecosystem. And then eventually, yes, they might offer better rates than Visa and MasterCard, because why would you, as a Visa or MasterCard user, want to pay more than you should if a competitor, a fairly big competitor, is offering you lower rates? Now, I know this sounds far-fetched, but this might actually happen in a couple of years from now. It's actually happening right now, but on a tiny scale. If you're one of the users of Cash App, you know that when you go and you pay with your Cash Card through a point of sale system that is from Square, well, Visa and MasterCard are not taking anything here. It all stays inside the ecosystem. And that's going to be a huge bullish aspect of the business in years to come. And now, before we conclude this video, let's have a quick look at the graph and see what the heck is going on right there. So the positive thing right here is that one, on the MACD, still bullish, RSI still at 42, so not oversold, not overbought, pretty neutral. And then on the graph itself, we're actually still above that 50 and 20-day moving average. You can see here, this is again the weekly chart. You can see here little tick that went just under that 20 and 50-day moving average, went back up. Let's try and stay over that and build a little base right here, and then maybe try and move on our way up. There is obviously at the end of February earnings, good earnings. We might see a big green candle. Bad earnings, well, you guessed it, red candle. Now, if in the coming weeks we fail to stay above the 50 and the 20-day moving average, then obviously look down. Not that far, under $60 or so. And so to conclude this video, 2023 is probably going to be a very interesting year for Block and especially its stock, because I do think that we will continue to see more growth in the company, not just from the revenue side, but from a gross profit standpoint as well. I'd like to see more and more profitability throughout these quarters and especially expenses coming down. Again, with regards to Afterpay, let's see what happens there. But obviously do share your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think Block will be like in 2023? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.